All right, welcome. Your first demo that we're going to do. The first thing I want to talk about is science journals. I use science journals. I prefer, and y'all, I'm sure you have them in your classroom. I kind of prefer a composition book that I use, and that way I keep all the notes in there. I do use Google Classroom a lot, and you'll notice that I'm going to be giving you Google Slides of the labs that I do. And it's kind of like reflective, and kids fill out different parts of it, or they'll draw things and then put that drawing up for me to see. So you'll see that. So that's kind of a different kind of journal. It's on the computer, but I do keep a journal. And Science Penguin, I don't know if you're familiar with it. I have a URL address for you to look at. She has a really great purpose behind them, ways to set them up, things that you can do. One thing that I would encourage you to do is I get a bunch of magazines, and I will have a scavenger hunt. I go through all the standards in science, and I come up with topics, and the topics, they have to figure out how could they decorate the top of their journal with that. I'm also going to include for you a this is all about me on the front page of the journal, so it gets them to interact personally about that. And another thing that I love to do is I get duct tape, different colors of duct tape, different patterns of duct tape, and I let them go at it. That way that becomes pretty exciting for them. So those are things that I do as far as setting up the science journal. And I really think it's important to grow scientists, and that they collect data. All right, I do use the Cornell note-taking method, and I'll show you briefly how I do it and why I do it. So pretend this is a piece of notebook paper. I have the kids put down 3 fingers or 2 fingers, and they draw a line. They have a line at the top, and that is going to be the title of of what we're studying. And I'll usually have that topic for the kids to see. And then at the very bottom, they're going to write a summary of just what they learned. Now, while they're taking their notes, I really kind of prefer them, because I'm a visual learner, to do little drawings and write keywords and definitions on here, but their own kind of way of taking notes. And then when there's particular words that need to be emphasized, they would write those words on that larger margin. After they go home, they reflect on this. They write their words on the margin. What did I learn? What are the highlights? So I can go back to my notes and I know, oh, well, Mr. Kuntz talked about food webs, and I can find that word there. And then one of the things that I do give them as a minor grade is to keep up their summary. What did we learn? What did we know? And that summarizes in their own words what that lesson was all about. Well, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to show you a different method of using drama in the classroom for them to learn the scientific method. All right, so I use drama in the classroom. I don't know how it's going to work this year with social distancing, but we normally will get together in a group of a circle, and there's ways that I bring them together. And one of the things that I have to start off with is the scientific method. And I'm going to demonstrate what the kids do, so that you could do that in the classroom and review it quite often. All right, so it starts, we're acting like scientists. The scientific method. Make an observation. Ask a question. Form a hypothesis. Test your hypothesis. Results support. Results don't support. Draw a conclusion. Ask another question. So we review that scientific method throughout the whole year, because the scientific method has to be part of every lab that we do. And the kids learn this, and they know it, and they have fun doing it. All right, we'll pause now. I want to go back and talk about some other things. So one of the things that I use all the time in the classroom is called a tableau. A tableau, you may have heard before, it's like a statue where you can give them a word like food web. And each child will come up and do some kind of a statue that would represent to them their thinking of a food web. So they can all touch, well, they can't next this year, but they can usually get close enough so that they'll make a pause, and then you can go back and you can tap them, or you can point at them and say, what are you? And what are you showing me? And what are you showing? So it's a great way of reviewing. I use tableaus when I do reading projects where I might separate a particular book into 3 different parts or 4 different parts, and the students have to come up with a statue about that one particular, like the main idea of that particular part of the story. Tableaus can be, and I've given you a list of many types of tableaus that you can do. I use them across the board in reading and science and math and in social studies, some ways to visually show them or to model what they have understood in the classroom. So it's a great way for me to be able to evaluate how was my teaching, and for them to not only know that they understood, but they're hearing other things that students are saying that reinforces what they're supposed to do. So that's it with tableaus. You have made it through Demo 1. Congratulations.